gentlemen, to a very special edition of Wrestle Rant. This is Wrestle Rant Macho Madness. In this special edition of Wrestle Rant Macho Madness, we're going to take a look at the Macho Man Randy Savage's explosive career. One of the greatest WWF champions that ever lived. One of the greatest intercontinental champions that there will ever be. The Macho Man Randy Savage. This is Wrestle Rant Macho Madness. As many of you have already heard this weekend, some sad news of course. The Macho Man Randy Savage, at the age of 58, has passed away. This is a very special edition of Wrestle Rant called Macho Madness. We're going to talk about the great things that the Macho Man did, as well as some of the bad things that went wrong. Let's talk about this first. Let's talk about the fact that he was one explosive superstar in the WWF. Let's talk about the fact that nobody can compare to the persona, to the madness of the Macho Man Randy Savage. In and out of the ring, the Macho Man Randy Savage was one of the most special WWF superstars ever. Two-time WWF champion, winning his first WWF championship at WrestleMania 4. The Macho Man Randy Savage was one of the most explosive, high-flying, death-defying WWF champions ever. Whether it was against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for the Intercontinental title or Hulk Hogan for the World Wrestling Federation title, the Macho Man Randy Savage could wow you and dazzle you in and out of the ring. He cannot be denied. Nothing that he ever did will ever be forgotten, because the madness will forever run wild. Ladies and gentlemen, we're continuing this special edition of Wrestle Rant Macho Madness. Let's talk about one of my favorite matches with Randy Macho Man Savage. How about this? The Macho Man versus the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Now you cannot deny, if you're a true wrestling fan, that was a great match. Both the one at WrestleMania 8 and the one at the Great American Bash, which yours truly happened to be in person for. Let me tell you, the Macho Man put on one heck of a show. Him and Ric Flair fed off of each other like they'd known each other their whole lives. The chemistry between those two was phenomenal. The storyline that they used to build the Macho Man versus Ric Flair for WrestleMania 8 was outstanding. Ric Flair claimed to have been with Elizabeth, claimed to have seen Elizabeth in less than everything that she was wearing, and the Macho Man Randy Savage's character was infuriated. You see, whether the Macho Man was a babyface or a heel, he knew how to draw heat. Whether it was bad heat from the fans or good heat, the Macho Man Randy Savage knew exactly what he was doing. Cutting promos, moving in the ring and out of the ring. When him and Ric Flair wrestled that match at WrestleMania 8, oh, what a phenomenal show he put on. Whether he was flying or grounded in the middle of that squared circle, the Macho Man Randy Savage truly did let the madness run wild. And at the Great American Bash, when he faced Ric Flair with his father, Angelo Popo, in his corner, I happen to be partial to that name. Well, fans, all I can say is this. To be there in person to witness that was truly spectacular. Fans, this special edition of Wrestle Rant Macho Madness continues. You can't talk about the Macho Man Randy Savage without talking about Miss Elizabeth. Miss Elizabeth. Elizabeth was his wife for many, many years. And those two were together in and out of the ring for a very long time before they divorced. But let me say this. One of the most memorable moments in WWF was when Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth pledged their love at each other at SummerSlam 1991. Do you remember that? Remember? You remember? Come on. Macho Man Randy Savage kneeling down to Miss Elizabeth on Superstars of Wrestling saying, "Will you marry me, Elizabeth?" I remember it like it was yesterday. It was Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior in one venue and Macho Man and Elizabeth in the other. The match made in hell, the match made in heaven. You wanted to see the match made in hell, but you couldn't wait to see the match made in heaven. There wasn't a dry eye in the house as the Macho Man and Elizabeth stood side by side, holding each other's hands. And fans, I have to admit, even at my young age at the time, I shed a tear. I was so happy to see those two happy. Macho Man Randy Savage truly was that, a macho man. Welcome back, fans, to this special edition of Wrestle Rant, Macho Madness. Now, fans, you didn't think I'd let Wrestle Rant go without ranting just a little bit, did you? Come on, it's still called Wrestle Rant. I want to rant about something that the WWF did a long time ago. Do you remember when they were saying that the first champion versus champion match was Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior? In fact and indeed, if you are an owner of many of the Coliseum home videos that the WWF at the time would sell to the fans either in a magazine or whatever venue they went to, you know as well as I do, the first ever champion versus match was not between Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. No. In fact, it was between the Ultimate Warrior and the Macho Man Randy Savage. That's right, the Ultimate Warrior was the Intercontinental Champion, and the Macho Man Randy Savage was the WWF Champion. Now, that was a dark match, an untelevised match, meant for Coliseum home video only. And yours truly happened to see that very match. Long before Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, there was Macho Man Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior. You can't fool this, fan WWE. This is Wrestle Rant, Macho Madness.